I asked her to be here. The next guest we have is Donna Brooks. She's an artist here in town. She's been published. She's a lot of great things that she's done. She's also my sister-in-law, so she puts up with a lot. And I'm really excited to show you what her talent level is. It's amazing.
I apologize for the coughing and hacking. I'm not sick. I was having an issue with vocal cords. They've taken me off my allergy medicine to treat that, and I was out all weekend without my allergy medicine, so that's what you're hearing today. I hate being around someone sick. My name's Donna Brooks, and I've basically been around the Providence area most of my life, and I started out teaching because I had the art ability. My mother was a very good artist, and it was down through the family. So when I graduated high school, like so many people, I went to work at GE, and I got married right off the bat. Did not go to college. My dad said it had been a waste of my time and his money, which would have been true. So, but I have tried to study with as many professional artists as I can over the years. And someone came to me and said, I want you to teach art classes. And I said, I don't have any formal training. And they said, well, just show us how you do it. So that's how it started. So for 30-some years, I've been traveling around getting groups together and having art class. And finally, I found a good shop, and I rented it. Now I'm there, and people come to me Monday through Thursday. I teach class with children and all the way up to 80-year-olds. And when I get them, a lot of times they'll just stay and stay and stay, and some come in and leave quickly. But what they figure out, well, it makes them nervous. It's probably not what they need to be doing, because it's supposed to make you happy and relax you when you do it. And if you're born with it, it's kind of like a scratch that has an itch that has to be scratched. You just got to do it. So anyway, the other part of what I do is I get published by other companies. Several years back, well, it was in the 90s, a publishing company saw some of my work at an art show and said, well, we want to use some of your artwork. Oh, really? Wow, that's great. So they had me do a few test pieces, and they liked it, so they started making prints of my work. And they travel around the United States called the art buyer caravans. And any company that needs art for anything will go to these shows. And if they see art that they like or that they feel like they need in their company, they will get that artist to do the work for us. That's how it started. And the Bradford Exchange, back in the 90s, is when the angel craze was hitting. And they commissioned me to do 22 of the plates. And there, of course, they're all of the angels. There was 8 of these, and then there was Afro-American, which what was cool is I had just done a portrait of Tubby Smith's kids, Brian, Saul, and Gigi, and they wanted to use those as the plates, so I had to get Donna and Tubby's permission, and they did. They used them. And one of my agents said, oh, this is really cool. We'll tell the Kentucky people that this is Saul Smith, and they said, oh, no, you can't do that, because Saul signs a waiver that he can't use his name in anything while he's on the team. So we couldn't use that name. But however, I had him holding a little baby wildcat. So Kentucky will know. And then Gigi worked for the Atlanta Bulldogs, so he's holding a bulldog. But anyway, then through the years, other people have, companies have come along and said, well, we want to license your work for different things. This is just one of many. They've done music boxes, they've done Christmas ornaments, throws, pillows, just a lot of different things. And I tell my people, my students, if you want to make a living with your art in this area, because it is a regional thing, your best bet is to get into reproductive work. That way you can get royalties. Because you can sell a painting one time, and even if you get a decent amount for it, it's gone. But if you have something that's being reproduced over and over and over and over, that's a royalty check every 3 months. And like this one right here, this one is on probably 10 or 15 different products. So I get licensed, they pay me to license it, and then I get royalties on top of every piece that sells. And so everything I do. And then I met a book publisher at one of those ABC shows that saw a book I had done, and he said the little girl was what he wanted his character in his book to look like. So that was my first. And I've been published with 4 different book publishing companies. And this one was, I think that was Golden Anchor Press. And then through the years I'm working now with Heart to Heart, which by the way, Gina, she is my manager. I'm like you. I just want to sit behind the easel and paint. Artists aren't typically good managers. You know, we're ruled more by our emotions than we are by rules and facts and all that. So I told this agent, I said, I want you to be my agent, and I don't care if you take a little more of a percentage of your cut, but I expect you to be there when I have a problem with an author. These authors, you know, a lot of them are first-time authors, and they've never done it before, and they don't really understand how the game is played. And over the years, I've just kind of backed off and told them I'll have contact with you through email, but I don't want to get big buddies with you because they like to take advantage of you and have you do and redo. And this was a company that called me. It was Hay House. They're out in California. And there's a company that does books. And this lady is from Hawaii. Doreen Birch is her name. She said she wanted to license a lot of my old images for inspirational cards. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'd love to let you do it. I said, how many do you need? She said, 44 images. And I said, oh, I don't have 44. She said, well, don't you have some that was never finished, or some that you could just put with your computer, put halos and wings on them? I said, oh, yeah, sure. So I was happy to do it. So as you see, this one was at that play. So she's been used again. And there's just there's 44 of them here. And they've just got real cute little inspirational messages. Now, this company does not pay royalties. It's just a one-time upfront fee. So, but that was nice. So, I also really what I love doing, the reason why I was out all weekend, I work with another organization that is a fundraising event across the United States for anything. This last weekend, it was for the ASPC, the Humane Society in Lebanon, Tennessee. It's sand carving. The organizer will go into an area and he will talk to all the businesses and tell them that if you've got 20 employees, pick me 10 out of that, and you pay a fee, and you will sand sculpt, and there'll be a competition, and whoever wins gets this big check, and then you turn that over to the ASPC, and then they have a little box put up with a lock on it that the votes come in. So they can raise thousands of dollars doing this, and the organizer will call in anywhere from 5 to 15 coaches. So that's what I am. So we go down there and we've got all these people that are not artists, never done art in their life, but he works with them prior, month before the event, they practice, and then we get assigned teams. So I had 2 teams this last weekend. One was a high school and the other one was a business, and the high school actually got 2nd place. It was fascinating. I wish I had thought to bring pictures, but I didn't. But I love doing the sand sculpting. And I like, let's see, the Galapalooza event in Louisville where they have the horses that you paint. I think on Gina's thing you had a picture of one. I did that, I think it's been 5 years ago. They can do it every 4 to 5 years. So I'm up for a lot of different projects. Used to do a lot of wall murals, but I'm getting too old to climb ladders, and I'm kind of just getting stationary now. I'm doing more and more books. They keep me pretty busy with that. And it's just a love of a lifetime. You know, when you can do what you love for a living, you're very blessed. So I do work, as I said, I teach 4 days a week, but when I get books, I'm there sometimes through the night. I'll work until I give out. I'll go hit the couch in the office, and then I'll sleep a few hours, get out and hit it again, because I've got deadlines I got to do. I do work with the schools. From time to time, I'll go to the schools and I'll work with the children and teach them how to draw, show them how to paint. And what's so funny is when I go to the schools, the teachers always want to give me the gifted and talented. And I'm amazed that really they are like the A+ students, the teachers' pets. And I said, well, really what I want are the ones that's in detention, because that's your artists. They're the ones that's always in trouble, not your best students. That's the way I was. I made when I was in high school, one of the ways I sailed through, I'll tell you 2 ways I sailed through. Number one, I did drawings of football players, basketball players, cheerleaders, and teachers' children for a big whopping fee of $5 a piece. And the other thing was the teachers, I talked them to let me do bulletin boards for extra credit. Then the big one was the kids would come to me and say, hey Donna, I've got to have a map drawn for tomorrow. I have to have a biology drawn. I'd say, okay, here's my English homework, here's my math homework. My homework My homework scores were way up there, my grades, but my test scores weren't so good. But I still through with a BC average. And so anyway, and I tell the kids, I didn't get a college degree, but that's not good because it has shut doors in my face. There's been times that myself and another artist might be vying for a job. I might even be better, but I don't have that document behind my name. And unless they really want to take time and look at your portfolio and talk to you, they're going to go with the person that's got the degree. And I said, the other thing too is, why do you want to stumble through the dark for 5 years when you could just be taught, conquer it, and then move on to the next obstacle? So if you can, by all means, get a degree. But I'm living proof that you don't have to, but I'll be 60 this year. And it's taken me a long time to get where I am. And I just feel so blessed that I can do it. So, any artists in here?
Questions?
When you first started working with people where you had to license, it was a licensing process and everything, did you avail yourself of an attorney at that time, or how did you determine what you were going to do when you reached out?
Well, I've been very fortunate because every time I've worked with something like that, I've had an agent that handles that.
Okay.
They know how to do the licensing. And I think we talked about, the copyright. My husband worked in Mississippi several years ago, and I had done 2 little boy plays. And I pulled off the interstate to get gas at one of those gas stations / restaurant souvenir store. And as I was standing there pumping gas, I thought, what? That looks familiar, but not. I walked over to it, and it was 2 of my plates that somebody had inverted. They changed the color a little bit, cloned my name off of it, and was selling them. So I walked in and I asked the manager, I said, where are you getting these plates at? Oh, we've got a vendor that comes around. And I said, they're bootlegged. He said, how do you know? I said, because I'm the artist that painted it, and they changed it up, took my name off, and I'm not getting royalties off of that one, and there's no name on the back. And he just kind of stood there, and I said, can you give me the name of the vendor? And this was my first experience of having something stolen like that. So, and Bradford Exchange actually owned the copyrights on it because they were currently using it. So I called my agents and I told them what I'd seen, and their response to that was, well, unfortunately that happens a lot, and it's going to cost too much money to pursue it. Just look at it like they liked it well enough to copy it. And if it's just a personal vendor, they're probably not going to make a fortune off of it. It was kind of a hard pill to swallow, to see your work copied like that. And then on the internet, to this day, I still see my angels where someone has just used it for something, and I just think, well, I'm glad they like it enough to use it. But I have always had an agent that takes care of that for me. I am not a good business head, and I'm like Gina, I don't like to price a job, or the books particularly. There are so many things that will come up in the course of a job. In the books, they will tell you, the author will tell you up front, you're the professional, you do what you think's best. And then when you do, they'll say, if it's a child I've illustrated and he's doing something, and they say, oh, can you stand him up so I can see his face? And I said, if you want amateur that's going to do every single person standing looking at you like this, boring and not good, you can hire that. But you told me to do what I thought's best, because a lot of times they don't know what they're asking for. They will, I'll give you a perfect example. One of the books I'm just finishing now, the author wanted this creature. He wanted to have the head of a Komodo dragon, the body of a T-Rex, fur like a Bigfoot, and big, huge claws, big, scary. And I knew right off, and he wanted to be vicious looking. Well, if you've all seen a picture of a Komodo dragon, they've got square, rounded noses, and big round eyes. There's nothing scary about that. No horns or nothing. But because I really like this guy, and it took me several hours to do it, I went ahead and painted it, knowing what his first words were going to be out of his mouth. He said, Donna, it doesn't look scary. I said, does it? He said, can you fix it? I said, yes, but he's not going to look like a Komodo dragon. So that entailed almost making a beak like a bird, horns, made his eyes more like a snake, slanted, and then he was happy. I said, now we've got another issue here. You want these big, scary hands. I said, have you ever really looked closer to T-Rex's arms. They're like this. He said, oh, you're right. Can you do something? I said, yeah. So I made these great big arms. So anyway, if they tell you what they want, they don't really know what they're asking for. Another guy wanted to be a view of it like you're in an airplane looking down. The poem was the other animals wish that they could fly as high as the birds. And so he wanted me to make you feel like he was really, really high. Well, I've been in a plane, so I know how to do that. But then he proceeds to tell me he wants a sidewalk and an arch with roses. And I said, oh, well, have you ever been flown on an airplane? Have you ever looked at a car, which is many, many times bigger than a rose? And I said, if I do what you're asking me to do, you're going to come right back down to the ground. You're not going to have that feeling of being very high up. So I get a lot of guff with authors because they are insistent that they want that way. Well, when I do it, it just takes that much time, and it just generally goes in the trash. So now that I've got an agent, if that happens, they have to pay for an extra painting. So.
How do you find a good agent, and what are the basic royalty fees
Okay.
and percentages on agents?
Okay, if you sell in a gallery, 40 to 60% is average. If it's a big gallery, you may go up to 65. You can get online and look up agents for artists. With the companies I've been with, they're publishing companies for artwork, prints, that sort of thing. They act as your agent. They've actually got an attorney on staff if it's a big company, and they handle all that. They've always got a business head that can take care of those things. Let's see, what was the other part of that question? He said,
What percentage of the
oh,
royalties?
percentage. Oh, this is so good. Well, it kind of freaked me out too when it first happened. The Bradford Exchange, I think they sell those plates for $39.95. You know how much I get for each one they sell? No one believes this, but it's true. 75 cents for each one they sell. I work for Home Interiors. They would sell the frame pieces for $69, $79, 14 cents. But they sell in such large quantity, those checks can be pretty darn good when they come in. And another thing, I don't like to work with a company that wants to pay me, it's an individual, they want to pay me out of their pocket, because they don't keep good records, and when it comes time for royalties, they don't really know how many they've sold. Let's see, but as you work with the companies, it will go up and up and up, and losing my train of thought. It's different, you know, it's, and a lot of these big companies like the Bradford Exchange, before they're going to invest money in this, they're going to test market it all over the United States. They know this sort of thing would go good in the Bible Belt, kind of right down the middle of the United States from top to bottom. That will work there. So they're not even going to bother test marketing something like this in the Bible Belt. But where it typically wouldn't be popular would be in the Northeast or in the West. So they're going to test market it there. And if it scores high in those areas, they know it's going to be a good seller. And then I'm more than happy to take royalties from them because they're pretty sure it's going to be a good seller, which means my royalty checks are going to be really good. And they can run for a long, long time. But, Marion, to answer your question, it varies. They're all different. There's a book called Writers and Illustrator Market. I think they put out a new one every year. And if you're into anything, photography, carving, and you want to find a company to submit your artwork to, then you look in the index at what you want to do, and they'll give you pages of companies that have paid to have their names put in there that says, we are a company that does paper towels or wallpaper, and we need artists to do borders. And so if you like what they're proposing to you, how you submit it, what they will pay, what percentage of royalties they're going to give you, and if you agree with all that, then you submit your artwork. And then hopefully they'll choose you, and then you're off and running. But I definitely wouldn't want to work without an agent.
What's the agent cut percentage usually?
They start at 20%, 20% and go up. So that's not uncommon. You know, even if you're selling prints like I used to years ago, I can't hit the road and make a living. I just don't have the time. So they have distributors, and if you've got a $20 print, it costs me $5 to make it. So if the distributor is going to come into the picture, and I'm going to say this print's going to sell for $20. It cost me $5, but it's going to sell for $20. So when he goes into the print shops, it's half. It's wholesale to the print shops. So it's $10. Well, he's not going to pay me $5 and not make any money, so he'll buy it for 5, sell it for 10, and the print shop will sell it for 20. They make theirs. So there's always so many things. There's so many fingers in the pie. It's you know, companies that have to design, they have to actually build them. There's just so many fingers in the pie, but it's very essential. And without an agent or distributor carry it for you, it's almost impossible. You know, you can hit your local areas, but you're not going to make it enough to really make a living off of it.
How many of those plates have been printed so far, do you know?
How many? Well, with the Bradford Exchange, they had a thing called New Artist of the Year Award, and this one here had 8 plates in it, and it's based not on the artwork, but the sales. This was back in the early 90s, I think, 90, 91. Because of the sales, I got the New Artist of the Year Award, and that's based on, I got this really beautiful big crystal plate with carved on it and everything, but that was because the sales were so high. And if it's a good selling one, it'll go and go and go. It started, this was published in the 80s, the late 80s, and I still have a few little, you know, checks that are trickling in from it. Leaning Tree, the note card company, is doing this little red-haired angel. And so it's just continuously rolling around. And just like this company here picked it up again. So I don't know, Marion, if you look on the plates, they've got a big long number on the back, but it'll be like A, big long number. A is your first run. B is the second run. C, D, E. And as an artist, I think I got 10 or 15 of them up front, which I got the first ones off the press. So they're in my cabinet at home. But many, many, many thousands. And they sell all over the world too. Some of the artwork that I had done of the little angels had been put into a different language and was selling over like in Arabia. So, and on all my sheets when I get my royalties, it always shows you where, and these things were selling better in Germany and Sweden than they were in the United States. So,
Have you had any students that have gone on to the same level of success that you have?
I have. Vivian Flash, I don't know if anybody knows her from here. She was a student. All she'd ever done was toll painting. And but now what she's doing is the Art Deco. I can't do that. I have tried. And when what I was doing kind of flipped and stopped being printed, and a lot of the companies like Home Interior have gone under. New companies have emerged, Graphic Dimensions that does the Art Deco. If you go to Walmart, Trees and Trends, you'll see Vivian's stuff there. Hospitals, a lot of her stuff's in hospitals. It's a total different style of art, and I've tried to do it, and I cannot do it. Let's see, Donna Eves, I got her into doing some book illustrations. Mary Martin, she did some prints. Jeannie Kittinger, she worked for Dr. You know Jeannie Kittinger? She, what was it?
She works at hospital.
Yeah, for the colonoscopy doctor. What's his name? Well, anyway, I think she stopped working for she quit that and she's doing book illustrations pretty full time now. But I've had several that's gotten into it, and some I've recommended didn't like it and didn't carry through because it is hard work.
What's your favorite medium or your favorite way to?
Oil and sand. Yeah, not together.
Yeah, I was like, wow, how's that work?
Yeah, oil and sand. Oh, how I love that sand.
Are you taking new students and what's your price?
I am. My schedule flip-flops about every 4 weeks. It's $75 for 4 weeks. That is all your supplies included, except for the canvases. I don't carry those. I do have a lady that has supplies in my shop, though. But that, I have oil, acrylic, we sculpt, we do spray art, and we draw. So a lot of different things. And,
You have a favorite artist, and so how do they?
Oh, Norman Rockwell. And he wasn't even considered a serious art. But to me, there's beautiful paintings, and then there's paintings that touch your soul. When you look at Norman Rockwell, you most generally want to laugh or go, ah, you know, it evokes the emotion in you. So that, and then Maxfield Parrish. I don't know anything more about him other than I love his art, and I love his art because of the colors he uses. A lot of people tell me I can see Don Brooks's work because of the colors. I love vivid, bright colors. This book right here, I had to give, this was one of the authors that was a little hard to deal with. I had to give her an art class with every illustration I turned in. Let me just give you an example here. I love bright colors. So they say bright color stimulates brain growth in children. You see how the giraffe has got all the blue on him? Freaked her out. Why has that giraffe got a blue belly? I said, because it's in the shadows. And then one teacher told me one time, if you have to explain what you've done, you didn't do it right, take it off and start over. But I know I was doing it right. There was another page where I said, well, I have to take your words and I have to give them life and invoke feeling. Let's see, this is another one, about the same thing. They said, well, I want to see the whole hippopotamus body. I said, no, you don't. In order to get the whole body in, I'm going to shrink him down this big, and it's going to be so blasé, you know, you wouldn't like it. There was another one here, which we almost come to fight over it. She did not like the blue giraffe. I said, that's moonlight. It's depicting nighttime. You know, how are you going to depict nighttime other than just saying it's nighttime? I have to show it's nighttime. How do you expect me to show that? I'm not going to put warm colors on him. I can't. So anyway, it's turned out fine, and it's actually even been nominated for some awards. I think one of the squirrel books last year, which really was exciting, we have an international book competition, and my squirrel book got #1, first place in the Christian children book, picture book category. And I've had several that's been runner-ups, but this one was actual first place. So, and I think this one too was somewhere, it won something, but I can't remember. She's supposed to send me some stickers you put on it that says this is an award winner. And I go to Frankfurt every year to the book fair. You have to have a book published currently that year to be eligible to go. And not everybody gets to go if you're invited to go. So, I don't like it because I don't like to sell. I sit there beside other authors, and they'll get up out of their car, out of their seat, and they'll run, you come over here, you need this book, you need to buy this book. I can't do that. I can't. If they don't want to look at it and think they need it, I am not going to do that. But you'd be surprised at people that do. So I'm not a good salesperson. That's why you need an agent. That's why I need an agent. Okay. Any other questions?
Do you do illustrated books for people who, you know, not a large author, but just someone that may want to publish a little children's book for their kids or something?
Absolutely. That's mostly what I do. The company, I've worked with Zulon, which that is a company that's on the internet. I worked with Golden Anchor, I've worked with Heart to Heart, and then Hay House. Heart to Heart, to me, is the lady's a very devout Christian woman. She's honest, and a lot, I will, when they call me up, they see my stuff on my website, they'll call me up, want me to do it, and I'll say, okay, she's my agent, you call her and talk to her. But yes, most of them are first-time self-published.
Well, we thank you very much. Mary, tell us what we got next week.
Next week, we have massive football for Nissan, which records sales, and we have Rick with American Printing coming to visit us next week. So that'll be exciting.
Very good.